let's address something straight away. Yes, the Netflix deal has already been talked about. Yes, people rush to give instant reactions. And yes, a lot of those reactions boiled down to extremes. Either cinema is dead, or this won't change anything. But the reality, as always, sits in the uncomfortable middle. This deal isn't important because it's Netflix. It's important because it confirms something the industry has been slowly avoiding. The traditional theatrical model no longer works the way it used to, especially for franchises like DC. This isn't speculation. This is economics. This is audience behavior. And this is studios quietly admitting that box office alone is no longer enough. So today, I don't want to hype this deal, and I don't want to panic about it either. I want to break down what's already changed, what this deal accelerates, and what it risks breaking if handled badly. Because when DC is involved, a studio already rebuilding trust, the margin for error is small. Before opinions, we need to be honest about the industry we're actually in, not the one people remember. For decades, theatrical windows were long by design. Films would stay in cinemas for 10 weeks, 12 weeks, sometimes even longer if word of mouth was strong. That system relied on one thing: repeat cinema attendance. But that behavior has changed. Here are the facts. Pre-2020, the average theatrical window was 75 to 90 days. Post-2020, most major studios operate on 30 to 45 days. Some films now move to digital in under 3 weeks if performance drops. And crucially, audiences didn't revolt. People adjusted at the same time. Global streaming subscriptions exploded. Netflix passed 260 million subscribers worldwide. Streaming became the default way people consume films. So when we talk about this Netflix deal, we need to stop pretending it's introducing something new. It's formalizing a shift that already happened. Cinema didn't lose relevance overnight. It lost exclusivity. Now let's bring this back to DC, because context matters here more than anywhere else. DC films are among the most expensive in the industry. A typical DC theatrical release involves $150 to $250 million production budgets, $100 million plus marketing campaigns, massive global rollouts. That means most DC films need $600 to $700 million worldwide just to break even. And in recent years, that has become increasingly difficult. Even films that are critically praised, loved by fans, strong creatively, can still be labeled failures if they don't hit those numbers. This is where Netflix changes the equation. With Netflix involved, box office becomes part of success, not the whole story. Streaming performance matters just as much. A film can underperform theatrically and still justify its existence. That's a huge safety net. But here's the concern, and this is important. If studios know a film doesn't need long theatrical legs to survive, will they still design it to demand the big screen? That question sits at the heart of this entire deal. Let's be clear. There are genuine reasons studios want deals like this. Number one, creative flexibility. Streaming-backed films don't live or die by opening weekend. That allows directors to take risks, studios to greenlight mid-budget projects, stories that don't need to appeal to everyone. For DC, this is massive. DC's biggest strengths have always been tone, mood, character psychology. Things that don't always translate into four-quadrant box office dominance. Netflix gives DC room to lean into that identity instead of sanding it down. Pro 2. TV shows that actually matter. DC has made a lot of TV, but not all of it has felt essential. Netflix thrives on long-form storytelling. That means DC series can develop characters properly, explore themes. Films don't have time for feed directly into theatrical releases. Instead of shows feeling optional, they can become structural, not supplementary. This is how franchises stay alive between films, not through hype, but through depth. Pro 3. Global reach and longevity. Theatrical success is immediate and brutal. Streaming success is slower, but broader. Netflix measures performance through watch time, completion rates, repeat viewing, long-term engagement. A DC film can now find an audience months later, grow through word of mouth, be rediscovered instead of forgotten. That's something cinema alone no longer guarantees. The cons, the part people avoid. Now the hard part, because these risks are real. Con 1. Theatrical devaluation. When audiences know a film will hit streaming quickly, behavior changes. People start thinking, "I'll wait." That mentality hurts box office, shortens theatrical runs even further, weakens cinema's cultural presence. This isn't hypothetical, it's already happening. And this deal could make it worse if not managed carefully. Con 2. Oversaturation. There is already oversaturation with movies and remakes, and even superhero movies in general. Netflix releases an enormous amount of content. If DC projects become too frequent, films lose event status, characters lose mystique, the brand becomes background noise. We've seen franchises collapse under the weight of their own output. More content does not equal more impact. Sometimes it can be overdone. Look at Marvel post-Endgame with the Disney Plus shows, where most of the viewers haven't even watched the shows that have came out. Contras, shorter cultural lifespan. Streaming moves fast. A film can dominate conversation for one weekend, one algorithm push, then disappear. Cinema once forced culture to slow down. Streaming rarely does. That's a real loss, and one studios often underestimate. Now, this could be the scary part for some franchises. Reboots, multiverses, and brand confusion. Now let's talk about reboots, because this deal makes them easier than ever. Netflix encourages alternate versions, limited series, standalone interpretations. Creatively, that's exciting. Strategically, it's risky. DC already struggles with canon confusion with the DCEU, and DCU with the Snyder cult, and the James Gunn fans always battling it out. Audience trust, clear long-term vision. If Netflix freedom isn't guided by strong leadership, DC risks becoming fragmented, inconsistent, emotionally disconnected like the DCEU was. Creative freedom without direction isn't innovation, it's noise. So, what does this mean for cinema as a whole? This deal doesn't kill cinema, but it permanently changes its role. Theaters become shorter runs, bigger openings, premium experiences. Streaming becomes the long-term home, the safety net. The place where stories live on cinema loses its monopoly, and that matters. Because once cinema stops being essential, it has to justify itself every time. Now here's my actual opinion. This deal is not necessary, it's also dangerous, but there can be good from it. The goods is because the old model may no longer be sustainable for franchises like DC, as they will need to spend $200 million and need at least $600 million to break even. These means films being rushed and sometimes not even completed to its full state. I would much rather have 450 million films with directors that have free creative control, but the right directors, not just anyone, and be able to share stories that we have never seen before with more heart, love, and care. That may take longer to make with less budget, but that may even mean it won't look the same like every blockbuster does nowadays. Dangerous, because it risks lowering ambition if studios rely on streaming as a fallback. Netflix should be a support system, a creative amplifier, not an excuse for weaker theatrical experiences. If DC uses this deal to take smarter risks, respect cinema as an art form, build consistency across projects, this could be a genuine turning point. If not, then cinema won't die loudly. It will fade quietly. Because the thing is, cinema was never just a place. It was a feeling. A place where first dates felt bigger than life. Where sitting next to someone in the dark made your heart race. Not because of the movie, but because of the moment. a place where you walked in expecting just another film, and walked out having discovered your new favorite. Cinema was where stories didn't just entertain you, they changed you. A film you watched once that stayed with you forever. A character who made you want to be braver, kinder, better. For some people, cinema inspired careers. For others, it inspired dreams. For many of us, it simply gave us memories we'll never forget. Waiting in line, the smell of popcorn, the lights dimming. That moment when the world goes quiet, and 200 strangers all breathe in at the same time. That's not just watching a movie. That's belonging to something. And that's why this conversation matters. Because we're not just talking about business deals or streaming numbers. We're talking about whether that feeling survives. Whether future generations will know the excitement of counting down the days until a release. Whether they'll experience the silence of a full theater during a powerful scene. Whether they'll ever sit in pitch-black rows of worn seats and feel like the screen in front of them is the most important thing in the world. Or whether movies become something else entirely. Something you half-watch from a sofa. Something paused for notifications. Something shared, but not felt. We still have cinemas, but will they be the same? Will going to the movies still feel special? Or will it feel optional? Will people still dress up, plan dates, and make nights out of films? Or will everything slowly move home, one release at a time? That's the question sitting at the center of this Netflix and Warner Bros. Deal. Not whether cinema survives, but what kind of cinema survives. Because once you lose the habit of going, once the screen gets smaller, once the darkness is replaced by comfort, you don't notice the change all at once. You just wake up one day and realize something beautiful slipped away quietly. So, yes, everyone has talked about the Netflix deal. But what they haven't talked about is this: what it means for the way we fall in love with movies in the first place, and whether the next generation will ever experience cinema the way we did.